Mark, so good to see you. Today, we're going to talk through 3 easy ways to jeopardize your retirement. According to Kiplinger, only 44% of people have ever even calculated what they'll need to live on in retirement. Of course, that should be step number one. And after you crunch the numbers, then you need to rethink the way you spend before you retire so that you don't outlive your nest egg. So let's talk through 3 common pitfalls. Number one, many retirees carry credit card balances, auto loans, mortgages, or other debt into retirement, sometimes as high as $55,000. That's according to Investopedia. How important is it to enter retirement debt-free?
Well, it's hugely important because if you think about it, I mean, we have to assume that we have longevity in retirement, and we could be spending down our assets longer in retirement than we were working in the workforce. So we really have to make this assessment of what types of debts do we have and how do we get them paid off? Because anything that's high interest rate, anything that's a depreciating asset,
Right.
it has to get paid down. And particularly if you're considering retiring early versus later,
Right.
it becomes a huge issue, or can become a huge issue.
Good point. And how do you feel about paying off the mortgage?
So I think with the mortgage, it really depends. I think we've been indoctrinated that, hey, when you retire, you should have your mortgage paid off. And that's not a bad thing, but I think you have to make an assessment of that, because if we're going to take a lot of money from our retirement accounts to pay off our mortgage,
Right.
that can put us in a bad spot, because when you think about retirement, it's all about cash flow, net spendable cash flow. And if we're putting money that can produce cash flow into equity doesn't produce cash flow. And if we want to get it out, we have to qualify to get a loan. And when you're retired, it's really hard to get a loan. And then you got to pay interest and pay it back. So a lot of that's not going to make sense. So I think the answer really is it depends. And everybody has a little bit different situation. But if you're emotionally just in the camp of, I want to get this paid off, then I think you have to look at the numbers and the math to really justify, does it make sense to do that or not?
Right. And of course, everybody's mortgage rate is different too, which can change that
Yeah.
math. All right. Number two, Mark, I find this one to be the most interesting. A record number of parents, 50%, according to savings.com, are financially supporting their adult children, with the average support about $1,500 a month. That includes expenses like groceries, cell phone bills, rent, health insurance, even vacations. So how do we prioritize our retirement while still helping our family?
Yeah. So, when you look at those statistics, a lot of those people are helping their kids out at the expense of their own
Right.
selves or their
Right.
own retirement. And really, I think you have to revisit that. And yes, I'm not saying you shouldn't help your children out, but you can't do it where you go, hey, I've been doing this for 10 years. And then you look at your retirement and you're way behind. Now you're going to have a problem, because if you can't help yourself, if you're not financially healthy, there's no way you're going to be able to help your child. So I think you have to step back and look at that. And these are the hard conversations that you have to have and say, look, I've got to start putting more fuel on my fire, building my wealth so that I have enough retirement assets, but then try to balance that out where, yeah, you're still being able to help that child.
Mm-hmm. All right. And third, living large. Simply put, living beyond our means. But how can we determine if we are spending more than we should? Because, excuse me, this is such a delicate balance in retirement.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because as a society, we are indoctrinated to spend money, to buy things we don't need. And that's what, good marketing is all about that.
Yeah.
It's constantly getting you to buy things you really don't need. So I think we have to really step back. This is behavioral, but we have to look at really the numbers and look at, do an audit for the last 30 days. And or do an audit as you move forward for 30 days of what you're actually spending money on. And what you'll find is you're probably going to be going, whoa, I didn't know I was spending this much here or there. I'm not even using this. And there's a lot of things you could probably cut out of there that ultimately could be those assets, that money could be used to put towards your retirement.
Mm-hmm. Right. Really good point. And of course, working with an advisor can help us with that, because sometimes it is a moving target as we move through retirement. So, Mark, if somebody would like to sit down with you, make sure that they are not jeopardizing their retirement, their nest egg, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so they can simply reach out to us, give us a phone call. The phone number is 303 681-0113. They can talk to anybody on our team, schedule a consultation, Zoom call, in-person meeting, whatever it is, or you can go to our website, McGregorwealth.com, and we do have a calendar link. It links directly to my schedule. But yeah, let's have a conversation about this, because it's all about getting you retirement ready, having that second opinion, and then really knowing that you're on track.
Exactly.
Retire when you want to retire. And remember this, Erin, we have to retire to something. We can't just retire. So it's all about planning and having a specific plan in place. And that's another thing most people do not have. So we can help you with that.
Right. Step number one. Well said. Mark, thank you so much for your time today.
All right. Thank you, Erin.